Bad kids. You heard it. So.
No, stop. We didn't start yet. No. Stop. You're wasting time. No.
Teenage niece, Michaela. Teenage niece, Mackenzie. Their mom's holding the camera.
Did you have to even...
We're talking about bad kids.
Punishments for bad kids.
Bad kids.
Punishments.
Okay, so. When I was in school, I got the paddle. My teacher called my mom and dad, and when I got home, I got the belt twice. So, what are your thoughts on that, Michaela?
No.
No. Why?
Because I don't think the teacher should be able to even touch you.
Why?
Because they are not your parents. They don't punish you. They're there to teach you, not punish you. Oh, no. But if they're not your parents... Like, if you're over your friend's house and you do something bad, I feel like they should be able to call your parents and be like, yo, kid, you gotta come pick them up. They just did this, blah, 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 and then you get the punishment when you get home.
Do you feel like your parents should be able to whoop you?
Yeah. Depends on the problem, though.
Depends on the problem.
Yeah.
So you go over to your friend's house, you're staying at your friend's house, you get rowdy, you knock over an expensive piece of art.
Yeah, no, we shouldn't get in trouble for that.
You shouldn't get in trouble for breaking...
Yeah, I mean, I could understand if the mom wants to call your mom.
But they can't
call your mom and be like, come over, come get your kid. They just knocked over
And you don't believe you should get punished for that?
No, because you were playing around. It was an accident. It was not like you said, oh, there's a freaking lamp and knock it over.
What about goofing off in school, not paying attention in class, not doing your work?
They got a thing called ISI.
They have a thing called suspension, expelled.
In schools, and I had in school suspension quite a bit too. In school suspension was created because they took the paddles out of the school.
Yeah.
So they didn't have in school suspension didn't exist when a teacher could punish a kid. When I got punished. I learned my lesson. I learned not to goof off with that teacher. So they didn't need ISS. ISS was the school's only way of coming back from not being able to use a paddle. So do you feel like if you didn't have ISS, what would the punishment be then? How can a school get across to you that, you know, it doesn't matter if your mom or dad are around, you still need to behave and do what you're supposed to be doing? How does the school system get you to do what you're supposed to be doing?
Kick you out of school. And
stay out of trouble when your mom and dad are not around?
Kicking out of school doesn't do nothing but just give them time to themselves and do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Well, what about those kids whose parents don't?
Then I guess they're stuck in the house.
No. What I'm saying is those kids whose parents do not care and don't punish them at home. Therefore, they haven't learned what they can and cannot do in school, and therefore they're very disruptive.
That's on them.
No, it's on the school, because the school has to deal with the disruptive behavior that the parents haven't taught them not to do.
It's also on the parents. It's on the parents for letting them even.
But if the school's hands are tied, and if the school can't teach a kid right and wrong while they're in school. Ooh.
You can knock that off. You can take that off.
Way to go. School cannot teach a kid the difference between right and wrong while the kid is in school, and the parent doesn't care, then where is that kid going to learn the difference between right and wrong?
There are some kids in my school who act up that I think should just be...
If the parent doesn't care, then
I don't know.
They shouldn't even have a kid.
Well, you can't sterilize people.
And you can't go back once a kid's made, it's made.
Obviously, if you're not messing up in school, you have no reason to be concerned with whether or not a teacher has a right to paddle. The only kids who are concerned about it are the ones who go to school and they don't they don't care and they go to school and, you know, show their rears. And those are the kids that don't want paddles in schools because they know they're going to be the ones that get paddled, right? Mm-hmm. So if they had paddles in schools, do you think those kids that you say need disciplined
Will act up?
would still act up?
Yeah, they would. Because
Do you think they would eventually learn after getting paddled by their teacher?
a little bit, but still
No.
the same thing? No, because the kids in our school today, they're like way worse than when they were with you guys. Like when you guys,
But it's
no,
also
I'm
your
not
guys'
even kidding,
fault.
Mom.
I had somebody throw a knife at a teacher in 9th grade,
Man, no.
and it got stuck in the chalkboard.
Yeah, no, that's not that bad. But no, they're like a lot more hard-headed, you know. What?
If you look at the amount of crime in the city today, right? Look at the amount of crime that's going on. Obviously, the city of Indianapolis is going crazy, right? Do you think that has anything to do with the fact that schools can't teach discipline?
No.
No.
I don't. No.
I'm not saying crime is going to go away if we bring back the paddle. Obviously, crime existed when we had the paddle, but crime is definitely getting out of hand. And obviously, I mean, you wouldn't know the difference.
Crime's
one way or
getting out of
another.
hand because the stupid cops that we have don't know how to do their job.
Is it the cops or is it the parents or is it? I mean, when a 17-year-old shoots and kills a guy walking on the canal downtown, is that whose fault is that? Is that the cops' fault?
No,
Whose fault is it?
the kid.
But if nobody's teaching the kid right from wrong,
Maybe they are. Maybe the kid is different when it's outside of its house.
that's a possibility. That's a possibility. But who's
Maybe that
responsible?
kid is getting good grades in school and everything, but when it's outside of everything else, he's different.
So you're telling me this straight A kid's just walking down the street and murders a guy to steal his shoes?
No. No, I'm not saying that. It's the people you're surrounded with.
What she's saying, let me say this in a better way because I know exactly where you're going with it. What she's saying is he's kind of like a kid who is being led down the wrong path by the wrong crowd, not necessarily because his parents aren't teaching him, but because he's making bad choices. What she doesn't understand is that those bad choices
Are a reflection of the people that are teaching him how to make choices.
correct.
So if the parents are teaching him, if the parents are not teaching him how to make choices, this goes back to being the kids in your school that goof off. If the parents aren't teaching them not to goof off, why is it that why should the school have to deal with the kids goofing off?
Then the school shouldn't. The school should expel him. Be like, get out of my school if you're gonna.
But then the kid doesn't learn anything.
Then that's on the kid. That's on the kid. That's on the family. That's how the kid wants to run his life. Then I guess that's how it's gonna be.
So why do you not make those bad choices?
Because I know that I'd get my butt.
Why?
I know that I would get my butt beat at home, and I wouldn't be able to do anything. And I'd rather go out and have fun with my friends than stay in the house all the time.
Okay. So back to putting responsibility on the school. If your parents didn't beat your butt and they didn't care and they just let you do whatever you wanted to do and you go to school doing whatever you want to do, and the school isn't allowed to teach you what your parents should be teaching you, where are you going to learn how to do the right thing?
You'll end up learning when you're in prison for your whole life.
That is the reason that today's crime rate is so much higher than what it was back when schools had the ability to discipline kids. Schools can't teach kids anymore. Schools have to abide by certain curriculums, and they're not allowed to teach kids about life. They can only teach kids about books. There's a difference there.
Whipping kids is considered a negative reinforcement versus an actual
I feel like if they should.
But whose responsibility is it to raise a child?
Yeah, but when you take
the
it
parents.
overboard,
Hang on. For a government of all things, for a government to step in and say, look, you're not allowed to punish your kids with a belt anymore. You're not allowed to hit your kids with a paddle anymore. Who are they to tell me how to raise my kids? What our government did was they just completely took physical punishment out of the equation, and now we have kids who feel entitled. We have kids who feel like it's okay to go out and walk the canal and murder a guy and take his shoes. We have kids who feel like nobody can punish them, nobody can touch them because mom and dad's not going to hit them. Mom and dad's not going to go to jail for hitting them. So we have kids who feel like nobody can touch them and they can do whatever they want to do. And that's why our crime rate now is damn near twice what it was when we were growing up. Because we got the paddle. They don't.
Can I talk?
And I'm not saying these two are bad kids, but their generation.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that. They don't have that. They don't have that wall there to say that you can't do that.
I feel like if you would have kept the paddle, if they would have kept the paddle instead of taking it away, if they would have where teachers discipline kids, and it's still up to now that they could do that. I feel like it would be so much better. But if they took that away and brought it back, kids would know because kids today, from kids today.
You made the exact point Uncle Danny was trying to make.
Okay, so from kids today, if teachers were to hit you with the paddle, the kids would fight back. The kids would literally hit the teachers if you were to hit them.
Because that punishment was taken away.
Because kids, they're so stubborn today that the teachers would not be able to touch them unless you have police officers holding you down. Like
even kids and in the news.
I was going to say that's a good example. The girl who fought back with the
police officer. When a police officer punishes a kid in school, that was all over the news. I don't know if you guys saw that, but a police officer actually got fired
for removing
a kid from a classroom. A kid who was acting up from the classroom. He had to physically remove her from the classroom.
Lift her up.
He just removed her from the classroom. He had to put his hands on her and remove her from the classroom because she was acting up. He lost his job.
See now, there's kids. Okay.
So where do you draw that line for like this is what they should be able to do, this is what they shouldn't be able to do? Because at the moment, schools, police, nobody can touch you outside of your parents, and even your parents are restricted as to how they can discipline you. Where does that line get drawn?
If the kids are acting up so bad that they are like won't even leave when they're asked to, yeah, I feel like they should be physically removed.
You do or don't feel that schools should have a paddle?
They should, but there should be a reason. Like, the reason should be good. Like, it can't because, oh, the kid was talking in my class. No, you don't get a paddle for talking. I mean, if you were to cuss out the teacher, yeah. If you were to get in a fight, yeah. If you were to throw a knife at the teacher, yeah. You should go to jail for that. But if you were like talking or you didn't like do your paper, no.
Closing statement right here. At the beginning of this video, you said schools should not be able to discipline students. Schools should not be able to have a paddle. Do you still feel that schools should not have paddles?
I feel like schools should have paddles. But I also feel like it has...
Thanks for watching.
No, I also feel like that kids, they have to use it on certain reasons.
Okay.
Okay.
Michaela, Dan, she's over there, Mackenzie,
Goodbye.
and Tara. Holla.